Me llamo Emilio Araya. I'm living here in Korea and I'm teaching tango, and this is the story. I was born in Chile, but my father was Italian and my mother is Spanish. And I was raised in Canada. I studied translation and education, but I really enjoyed working with people, although I'm not that social, I think. And I really enjoy traveling, so actually teaching allowed me to do that. And I was in Buenos Aires in 2004, and actually I met two Korean girls. One was a salsa instructor and the other one was a tango instructor. And we got along very well. We hung out a lot, traveled a bit around Argentina. Her name was Fish, and she's here in Seoul. She has her own tango club, El Tango. And she said, you know, if you ever happen to be in Korea or in Asia, come by Seoul and we can work together, because she was planning to open a tango school here, a tango club. So fast forward a few years, 2005, and I come to Korea. I stayed here for about, I think, 2 years. The first experience was very interesting. It's very hard to adapt. I didn't think I would come back to Korea. The very conservative mindset was not very enjoyable for me. But I happened to meet a lot of young Koreans traveling in Canada, and they were very nice, very friendly, very open-minded. And it actually allowed me to think I don't need to focus or deal with people that are unpleasant. I can just do my thing and work with people with who we work well. And actually Korea, because it was not so international, it was actually an opportunity to do some businesses here. So of course, teaching tango, working at public schools is always what I did. But I had other projects in mind, such as either doing a restaurant or some trading business. And it actually motivated me to come back and give it another choice, to try to be a bit more adaptable. And I came back in 2011, and I've been here since then. So we are here in Namaste, part of the Lumi Tango community in Hongdae. So to understand tango, first, as I said, we need to look at ourselves. And we begin that by looking at how we stand. So in tango, we talk about axis. And what is very important is where you stand with your knees, with your hips, with your chest, and with your head. So by yourself, usually we stand in more like a neutral central axis in a normal position. But to prepare ourselves to dance with a partner, we need to go to the fundamental way of hugging somebody. In tango, we connect through the abrazo. Abrazo is a typical way of greeting somebody in Latin America. We don't necessarily shake hands. We tend to hug and kiss on the cheeks a lot. So for us, abrazo is a very natural way of greeting people. So if you think about how you hug somebody, you present yourself with your chest, with the heart, you try to connect, and then you embrace the person with your arms. So this is the way, the posture we look for in tango. So I came back to Korea and I opened an online trading business that I did for about 2 years. But the limitations on my Korean language skills prevented me to grow the business. So I stopped and I tried to study more Korean, actually. Although doing the business helped to improve my language skills. And 2 years later, I met this young chef, very talented individual, Kevin Attal. And together we decided to open La Marmite, a French restaurant. And somehow, just running the restaurant, I was doing the management part. It allowed me to improve my Korean abilities greatly. So that was a good thing. Unfortunately, the business, we ended the partnership about 2.5 years later. And that's when I decided to focus more on tango. Up to that point, for me, tango was more like a hobby, like a side job, if I could call it something. And that was the first time I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give it my 100%. I'll dedicate all my time on that for maybe 1 or 2 years, see how it goes. I tried to do some festivals. There were already a couple tango festivals in Korea, but the community was not so big, even though Korea has one of the biggest dance communities in Asia. For tango, it's probably the biggest. Although number one is, I heard, is swing, second is salsa, tango comes third. So I thought there would be some opportunities to grow the community or the exposure of tango. So I tried to do a festival, trying to work with as many communities in Korea. That was the first edition of the festival, and I thought it went well. And we tried to do it again the second time, but we tried to include more the people that were most proactive. Not everybody was involved equally. And that was a bit hard because I think part of the culture, the corporate culture, came to play. And some things that we did not expect happened, and that was a bit disappointing. Killed the motivation for me to continue the project. So since there were already some festivals focusing more on social tango and tango escenario, I decided to try to focus on another style of tango, which was the Nuevo style. And so the Seoul Nuevo Tango Festival was focused on that, not only the dance, but also the music. And we were trying to do a more inclusive sort of festival. I was directing a tango show. Also, we tried to do a fair in some public places. We just wanted to increase the awareness of tango to the Korean population. Because up to then, still, especially tango dance, which is very close, some Koreans thought it was strange that if you're not husband and wife, then why would you dance so close with somebody else? So still that mentality was there. So we just wanted to bring some light to just social dancing. And so, yeah, I was focusing on Nuevo Tango. However, there was a period where tango was decreasing in Korea, and there were fewer dancers and there were fewer milongas at some point, until the tango competition, the Mundial, became popular internationally. And suddenly the interest in the dance re-emerged. And so, because that was not my specialty, I was focusing more on Nuevo. I noticed it was harder to get people involved. So I had to come to the decision to either adapt or die. And that's when I decided to start focusing more on technical dancing, social dancing. And I was doing both Nuevo style and also escenario style, but escenario is very difficult to do. It requires a lot of physical conditioning, and it's good if you're a dancer since a young age, but if you have a regular job and you try to dance escenario, you need to be fully invested in training as well. And a lot of people don't have the time and the physical condition. There was more potential business-wise to focus on competition-style dancing than Nuevo or escenario. In countries where we're not used to hug, to embrace, it can be a little bit awkward. Sometimes we approach not with the heart, but with the shoulders. Or sometimes we approach with the belly. We pull away the heart, actually. So for people who are not used to embrace, it's very hard to get the posture. So we present the heart forward, the rib cage, the chest. We embrace comfortably, not too tight, but warmly. And then we keep the weight on the tip of our toes, because it's going to be very important when we start walking with a partner. We always need to maintain the space at the bottom, whether we go forward, whether we go backwards and sideways. So this is the fundamental posture in tango. This is how we prepare to dance with another person, but it's very difficult and it takes a lot of practice. At the moment, because of the pandemic, everything's been put on hold. Festivals, they're not really happening. It's hard to get Argentine masters to come to teach in Korea, although there are some, luckily. Also, competitions have stopped. Because doing competitions involves having people coming over from different countries. And because of the quarantine restrictions, that's nearly impossible. So in the meantime, we focus more on teaching a social kind of dance. People are eager to go back to dancing, but also competing. Koreans are very competitive, they're very determined, they're very diligent. When they begin something, they're very eager to be the best, which is something very exceptional. And so I think there is that desire to go back to taking lessons, go back to competing. So that's what we're working on. We're working on focus on the classes on social dancing, but more on competition style. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for the next Foreign Hero video.